just after 3 o'clock. The doctor's in the house. All right, what are you doing?
What?
What are you gotta...
What?
You didn't land on free lunch. Don't try to take the money. You did not land on free lunch.
I did.
I want to count those again. What was that?
I was on that space right over there.
You were right there, and you rolled a 6.
Exactly.
1, 2, 3. No, you are on not free lunch. You're on Chrysler. You landed on Chrysler.
Oh.
Try to get a free lunch.
Oh, I miscounted. Give me a break.
You miscounted. You're perfect for this game.
Dude, I miscounted. It's not that big of a deal.
I have Obamanomics-Opoly. Obamanomics-Opoly, and me, Skip, and Boz have been playing. Michael, how are you, sir?
Great, Doc. How are you?
I'm doing fine. If Skip wasn't cheating, it's bad enough that
I am not cheating.
He's getting free lunches anyways.
You got to keep an eye on him.
I know how it is. Michael is the inventor. Inventor, designer, what do you prefer?
Producer,
creator,
whatever.
Obamanomics-Opoly. I wanted to have you on a couple of reasons to talk about it. Because, first of all, it's pretty clever and fun. And second of all, I want you to tell a little bit in a minute about getting the idea and being inspired and what it takes to become an entrepreneur with this. But first of all, let's talk about the game. It's kind of like that other board game, Monopoly.
Yeah.
But you changed a bunch of the spaces. So instead of community chest, you have...
Community chest, we have community organizer.
Yeah, and there's a big acorn on it. There's a big acorn. Do you have any of the community chest cards, Skip?
Yeah, community organizer. Things like get out of Guantanamo Bay free because you sang like a canary, thanks to waterboarding. and of course, Gitmo is jail as opposed to in Monopoly. We got Guantanamo Bay. And
instead of free parking, you got free lunch, which Skip was trying to land on there.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And let's see, you got the healthcare tax credit. That you hit that, boy, you're paying big, huh?
That's the cherry on the cake to this game right there, healthcare tax.
How's that one work?
Well, to be honest,
it's in the place where you have the luxury tax normally, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's right past where Go used to be. We now have the unemployment office because as you pass the unemployment office, you collect your check, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So a couple of spaces past that. I think it's right next to Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, whichever one on the board. The health care tax is actually structured just like the real health care that we're going to have to endure pretty soon, and that is when you land on that space, there's a tax due. But the way I structured the game was that the person that lands on the space, they don't pay the tax. Rather, their opponents and the people that they're playing with equally share and pay that tax for them, okay, which is interesting in and of itself. But... if anybody owns Lugosi Lane, which is the old Park Place, or Reed Road, which is like a boardwalk, they're exempt, and they don't have to contribute to pay a share of that tax.
Wow, this is just like real life.
Sound familiar, huh?
Bob, okay, hang on a second. Let me roll, Skip. Here's the dice roll. Okay, you got a 9. Hang on a second. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you're on community organizer. Take a community organizer card. What do you got there?
Consumer prices rise in value due to the inflation by Ben Barnek's massive money.
I had to misspell all the names in order to get the copyrights. I had to change all the spaces and misspell all the names, which actually worked out good because Nancy Pelosi is now Nancy Lugosi, the blood-sucking Nosferatu vampire that we know she is. And if you don't know what Nosferatu is, go to YouTube and put in Nosferatu.
I've seen the video, yeah.
It's the very first vampire in the old black and white. It's the first silent movie of a horror film ever made, and once you see that face on Nosferatu, you'll never forget it. But and Harry Reid and Janet Napolitano, and I called her Napoleano because Napoleon is short and she's short and so on. So there's a whole tongue-in-cheek thing there going on about the names that are involved in it. But
we're talking with Michael, the producer of Obamanomics-Opoly. Okay, Boz, I want you to go ahead and roll. You ready?
Yep. Here we go.
1, 2, 6. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Go.
Hope you landed on the hope and change spot.
Yeah, that's got to be good.
Okay,
that would be like the chance spot, the hope and change spot.
Right.
What's my card say, Skip?
Fingers there. They're crossed fingers.
Yeah, I like the little hand with the crossed fingers.
Okay.
Like I'm hoping.
Okay, so we have you applied for immigration legally. Go back to the unemployment office and wait. Collect nothing while you were there and lose your turn.
Oh, no way!
If only you just snuck across the border, Boz, you'd be fine. Everything would be fine.
Let me tell you real quick, Doc. I know that your listeners they're going to have a hard time following this this until they actually see the game. It's really attractive. The graphics and everything really are good, and I'm not saying that just because I had them created. But
no, it's a good-looking game.
Yeah, well, the two main features that the game really encompasses are, number one, the messages are that it educates the people as to the miserably failed economic policies of the Obama administration. For example, cash for clunkers, cap and trade, QE1 and QE2, and all the pay your fair share and spread the wealth-fed stimulus we're going to have to swallow. But more importantly than that, and why I made the game, was because it will forever remind the people as to the disastrous effects that the public policies that they've enacted will have on we the people. For example, in the Hope and Change cards, there's GSA junkets to Las Vegas where they went to these lavish Las Vegas vacations on our dime, or Secret Service agents get caught in Cartagena with the Colombian, ladies of the night, whatever, prostitutes. But immigration and health care are the two real main issues that we're going to have to remind people, because once Romney gets elected, it's not over. It's just beginning, because don't forget, Hillary's waiting in the wings. And this game will remind people 3.5 years from now, they can pull it out of their closets, they can share it with their nieces and nephews that are in college, and remind them that these policies are the same policies that keep coming up every 4 years on the Democratic side. So we've got to persevere, and we've got to keep our nose to the grindstone and keep these issues in the front. And that's one of the reasons why I made the game.
Talking with Michael, who produced Obamanomics-Opoly. It's a pretty cool game. It's a lot of fun. You'll probably have a great time at parties playing it. Before I ask you where people can get the game, Michael, tell me about making the game, because there's a lot of people listening right now that have had ideas for all kinds of business things. I mean, to go out and start a brick and mortar store, something online, maybe produce something like a game like this. Did you have any experience in producing games or starting businesses like this?
No, to be honest with you, Doc, I haven't. And I'll tell you, I called in all my clan is listening to this right now. I got a lot of my friends that I called, and they're all got their ears tuned to WXYT 1270.
We appreciate that.
And they know me. Okay, I haven't even played a game in a long time, and how the game came about is really interesting. I got laid off 2 years ago, so I'm one of those disgruntled, laid off guys that was unable to find suitable employment in my mid-level management type position, which I had. My education was really lacking. Okay, as I looked at my resume, and everything's done online now. You send it. It's so easy for them to say, "Oh, he doesn't have much education." So I tried to bridge that gap, and I signed up for a couple classes at Macomb College, okay? And in those classes, in my business class, I had to create or come up with a product to do a business plan on. And I almost dropped the class because I said, oh, my God, 15 pages, and how am I going to do this? And what am I? And so I somehow, I don't know what light went on. I must have been watching, Fox News or something, and I said, I'm so tired of all these policies that don't work. They couldn't even make it in a game like Monopoly. And I says, why not? It's a perfect a microcosm of free market principles. And as I came up with it, I got an A in the class, by the way. So it shows that a 55-year-old guy that applies himself can still do it. But more importantly than that, I says, I am an entrepreneur. And one of the attributes is that they take a risk, and usually with their own capital. Mm-hmm. And I said, even though I don't have the job that I'm looking for, and I don't really know where the next check is going to come from, and I couldn't find a job, so basically I made one with my entrepreneurial spirit. I cashed in some of my old silver coins I had when I was a kid on my paper route, and I made the game a reality. I found myself a designer that helped me with the graphics, and then he says, well, if there's any import fees, I'd be responsible for that. And I says, what do you mean? And he says, well, we're going to make it in China. And I said, not my game. I said, so I hit a bump in the road, and I had to find a manufacturer, actually in Cincinnati, Ohio, who makes all the versions for the college games.
University of Michigan-Opoly or whatever.
Right, and so he came on board, and I let him actually produce it, and it was through the class. And when I got done with the class, I said, the darn thing is just too good to throw in my closet and shut the door on it, my notes. So I said, I just can't throw it in my closet. And so I never doing it before. Thank God for Google. And I found a designer, I found a manufacturer. The game is born, and that's how it came about.
See, this is a classic story, Michael. That's I'm so fascinated by people who do stuff like this. I've taken some chances as well and marketed some products in the past, and it was successful for me. I mean, I didn't become a millionaire or anything like that, but I paid some bills. I made money above and beyond what I invested. And it taught me a lot. Yep. And it's funny the way you say this, because this has been my experience, the way you described it, as well as talking to other people, that most of us don't do stuff like this. So if we have an idea, whether it's a restaurant or producing a board game or whatever, we have some knowledge. You're like, okay, well, I'm going to need somebody to manufacture it and design whatever. But there's always a couple of things that you don't know. So as you start working through the process, you're like, okay, I'm going to go, oh, wait a minute. What do you mean I'm going to need that? I don't know what that is. Yep. So you feel like you're stuck, and you're like, darn it, what am I going to do? Well, for me, I simply just went online and started researching just, keywords and educating myself. And then when I couldn't get enough information, I would just email people that were part of articles or companies and say, what is this? What does this mean? And it's funny. People always respond. They respond. They give you the information, and then you go, oh, I understand. But the best part about it, Michael, for me, was when I looked back after having accomplished something like this, I realized it really wasn't that difficult. It was difficult as you look forward, because you don't know. You can't see the end of the road.
Right.
You only see it. And I try to tell people, if you have an idea like this, go after it. And when you hit a roadblock, recognize that's a good thing, because you're not going to hit 400 roadblocks. You're going to hit a handful of them, and know that as soon as you get through it, you're only going to have a couple more. You're going to be done with this thing. You're going to see it through. Right. Is that your experience? For
me, it was when I hit the roadblock. I focused in on that. And I focused in until I overcame it. Like, say, it was the where they were making them. As soon as I find out this first guy was going to have them produced in China, I said, no way, I want this game built, and it was designed with American ingenuity, and I wanted it built in the United States. And I focused in on that. I found researchers. Luckily, I did find one of the top board game manufacturers, Late for the Sky Manufacturing, in Cincinnati, Ohio.
And did you just find them via a search, right?
Well, yeah, I called. I pulled up everybody I could. I called them all, and the one that was down to earth and was clear and concise and made me feel comfortable. Well, my inner gut tells me this is the guy I want to do business with, then that's the one that I did. And, a long time, years ago, my brother had an idea to have drawstrings on a garbage bag, and he never did anything about it. And because at that time we used to do the old twist ties.
Yeah, twist ties, right.
And he says, if they ever came out with a garbage bag, they should put drawstrings on it. 4 or 5 years later, they did, and he's been kicking himself in the behind ever since, and I wasn't going to let that happen to me.
Michael, do you know how many things like that? In fact, I bet everybody has at least one idea like that where they say, somebody oughta. And for me, Skip, how many things have I invented that have already been invented?
You do 3 a day.
Michael, every day I drive, I'm like, what they ought to do? Something like the drawstrings. I'll go, they ought to put drawstrings on bags, and someone will go, yeah, they already have that.
Right.
And I'm like, one of these days I'm going to get one ahead of the curve. But you're right. It comes down to just doing it. And this is what we would normally be doing, Michael. Most of us, we get done with work because we work hard. You go home, you spend some time with the family, whatever, and then you sit on your ass for a couple of hours and watch TV, and you eat chips and do all this other stuff. Whereas if you just simply put a half an hour into one of these ideas a night, or an hour or whatever, it's only going to take you 6 months a year. You're going to have something.
Yeah, but Doc, for me, one of the big helps was the actual the line that it is. I mean, this is political. It's really one of the few political games out there. Now, where I met you, I really got a newfound respect. I listen to you all the time. I've been an addicted XYT listener for years. In fact, the old days of Mark Scott and Excelsior and all the guys from Phil O'Halloran from Justice Pro Se. I mean, we're talking 1980s. I've been an XYT listener, but politics today. And I heard you speak. This is very important today. The educating people and the reminding of people of these effects of these policies. I don't know if Mitt Romney doesn't get elected. I'm really concerned that these end runs around Congress and doing things, ruling by executive order, will put us in a trick bag that we may not be able to climb out of. And the honest truth, for years we always say, too bad we couldn't get a good businessman in there. Well, now we got a chance. Now we got an opportunity to quit holding our nose and pulling the lever, and it may be the last time we ever get a chance to do this. Nobody's perfect. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. Mitt Romney's not perfect. But it's the closest thing that I've seen in years to have. Look, we gave Obama a chance. Now let's give a businessman a chance. Maybe, just maybe. No, I don't think anybody can do any worse, but maybe, just maybe, he can fix some of these things. And I was so passionate about that, like you are, and that's what really pushed me over the edge to dip into my rainy day fund, put the money out there, not knowing where my next check is going to come from. And I'll tell you, the response I've had from people like you, and I met the governor last week. I've been meeting all kind of politicians. The Republican Party starting to embrace this, and it's been really a roller coaster ride that surprised the heck out of me.
Well, I'll tell you what, Michael, it's pretty impressive, and I got a couple of ideas I'm working on myself here because. Most people understand that we're going to have some changes at the first of the year, and I want to do my best to stay around in that. So we're working on some things, and you inspired me with this. So thank you. So hang on a second. Let me see what I got here.
Sure.
I got a 4. I landed on Goldman Sachs. I think I'm going to buy it for $700. That's what I think I'm going to do. Michael, where can people get Obamanomics-Opoly?
Well, the best thing they can do is they can Google Obamanomics-Opoly, and I'm the first 3 pages, actually. That's how much traction it's been getting. But I have a website as my homepage that'll show up on the Google. Amazon, they're on Amazon.com. And as a matter of fact, I want to make sure that I don't forget this. A portion of the proceeds from the sale of these, I donate to the Wounded Warrior Project, which
that's
is a really
very nice.
Excellent organization that really goes to support the men and women that protect and fight every day for the freedoms that we sometimes take for granted. So I do, help that organization, and a way to do that without really, I know there's still a lot of people out there unemployed like me, and maybe their unemployment has run out like mine. But a way to help that is just to go to the Google it, go to my page, because that really, all of this Internet stuff, it ups your metrics in the search engine rankings, and it winds up on the first page. All that searching helps me so that other people can see it and might buy it. So if a guy today can't buy it, if he copies it to an email and sends it or posts it to his Facebook, maybe somebody else that can support the game will see it there, see it on an early search engine page, and be able to help me contribute more to the Wounded Warrior Project because they really deserve it.
What are you doing? I own Lehman Brothers. That was a 6. Don't know. You're not a consumer. You owe me. As soon as I get my card, I'll tell you how much it's consumer.
When did you learn how to count?
You're the Liberty Bell, right?
Yes.
Okay, you are on Lehman Brothers.
Oh.
See, I can't, Mike. I can't play well on there because Kip keeps cheating. We're going to have to play it afterwards.
Goodness.
All right, we'll put a link to my Facebook page in that as well. Okay, sir?
You are great, Doc. I really appreciate it. And I'd like to call a little call to action to all the XYT listeners out there that have been listening for years, as 1270 having a history of being the talk radio station that it always was. And the people that, remember Mark Scott and his Excelsior and Phil O'Halloran from Justice Pro Se, I want them to call in the station. I want them to call their friends and make sure that we support your show. You are really passionately impressed me on your things, and I want to make sure that we support you because we're all in this together and we're all on the same team.
Thanks so much, Mike. I really appreciate it. Michael, the founder and producer of Obamanomics-Opoly. Thanks so much, and have a good day, okay?
Thank you, Doc. You too.
All right, $60. You're lucky I don't have a small business on it. It'd be $300.
Or corporation, what is it?
Well, if you get 2, 3, 4 small business all the way up, corporation, then you end up at $2,400, $2,450. So
wow.
You're lucky it's only $60, which is good. See, I love... certainly when it's local people who come up with products like this, and it's a real fun game. Obamanomics-Opoly.
And it's really well produced.
It really is
it's
fun.
Just like if you would buy a Monopoly game out of Walmart or whatever. It's all very well produced stuff.
This is the one you want to take over to your relatives on Thanksgiving. Yeah. Hey, you guys want to play a game? And you bust that out, especially when you know you're.
Wait till everyone's had a few drinks.
There it is. There.
Hey, Grandma, you want to play a game?
Right, because you end up with your whiny little college art major girl cousin that comes in, right? And she gets all whiny and pissy about it, right? Everybody's liquored up. In my family, people end up throwing stuff or whatever, which is always my goal.
My house.
So that works really well. But that'll be big fun. Plus, like you said, if you go to a party tonight, some other time, take that. It'll be big.
Plus,
fun.
It's like they always say, like at Thanksgiving, one of the best topics to talk about is politics. So
you want to cover politics a lot. That's a really good topic too.
One interesting change in this game, though. I mean, in regular Monopoly, people go bankrupt and go out. At the end of this game, everybody goes bankrupt.
Oh, good. It's very real life.
Yes,
very real
very
life.
much so.
If you have an idea for anything, a board game, whatever, an upgrade of an invention, and you see those commercials on TV, contact us if you have an invention. Most of those are not going to take your idea, but a lot of times they're not going to respond. They're not going to get it. I know I've dealt with some of them in the past. Your best bet is to do the work yourself. It's good. It's cathartic for us to work on other stuff instead of sitting and watching television. Now, Michael started this because he was going back to school. He was in college. But, for us, it doesn't matter what it is. A brand new invention, a board game, an upgrade of an old invention, a new business idea, whatever it is, just go and do it. Just go and do it. And when you hit those roadblocks, take pride in them. That you're doing something. Most of the time when we hit roadblocks, stuff like this, and I'm telling you I've been there, you go, oh, well, I don't know where to go. And then you stop. And the idea sits there, and nobody ends up doing anything with it. And it's done. Recognize that depending upon the size of the project, you're not going to hit 50 roadblocks. You're going to hit 1, 2, 3, something like that. And as soon as you figure it out, recognize that was one of my 3 big roadblocks. You look back and you go, wow, that was actually pretty easy. In today's world, you've got to find something else. Here's the reality. America's not coming back anytime soon. Obama, Romney, or other. The America you and I knew, the one we grew up with in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, it's not there anymore. And it's not going to be anytime soon. Now, down the road a piece, maybe it will be. Maybe, hopefully for your kids or your grandkids, it'll be there. But right now, it's not that America. That's not me being down on it. It's not me playing politics. It's just true. We no longer manufacture. There's a lot of stuff we don't do. We are a service-driven consumer society. And that's not what you and I grew up with. We grew up with an America where you didn't even have to graduate high school, and you could go out and earn a good living. You could join the trades, or you could get a factory job. You could go out and work at Chrysler or Ford or something, make $40,000, $50,000, whatever, $60,000 a year if you were willing to put in the time, and live a great middle-class life. That's not the case anymore. Hopefully down the road, some of that will return. Maybe for your kids, maybe for your grandkids, maybe for your great-grandkids, but for you and I, those of us that are 40, 50, 60 years of age, it's not going to be in your lifetime. You're going to end up too old if it does come back in the next 10, 20 years. So your options are do with less or find another way. And the other ways are out there. Inventing a board game, starting a business. You have to come up with something. You have to come up with that idea and then pursue it. You don't need money for these ideas, although it helps. Most of it is hard work and research. It's online. I try to talk about this stuff from time to time and encourage people to do stuff. I've done it. It's been successful. Michael will be successful with this. I've had a couple times where I've talked about ideas like this, and people have emailed me 6 months, a year later saying, Doc, I heard you. You inspired me. I finally followed through. I got to see if I could dig up a couple of those letters. I think I still have my email. They're like, and it's going great. It works. You're right. It's just a matter of finally doing it and pursuing one of those ideas. It's not the same America, so we have to think smarter. We have to do something different. And if you look at your wife or your husband and your kids or your grandkids, and you're like, I just want to be able to provide those things for them, whatever it is, either a normal, comfortable, middle-class lifestyle or a college education or even better lifestyle. then we're going to have to find a way. And it's not working at Ford or Chrysler. It's not working at the assembly plant. It's not, using a punch press, operating a punch press. It's coming up with an angle. And unfortunately, for a lot of people, when they get finally motivated enough, they do the same old thing that a lot of people have done. They go down and open a restaurant. Restaurants people think they get because we all go there. And you say to yourself, I'll go open a restaurant because I know what to do it. I make great food, or my wife makes really great sandwiches, or whatever it is. And you go and what do I need for a restaurant? I need the stuff to make sandwiches, a place to make it. I'll come up with a really great name. I put a sign out there. Not recognizing that most restaurants fail because the competition is fierce, because everybody knows how to make a restaurant, but not everybody knows how to design a Monopoly game, find a producer, and all of that. I'll give you a couple of other tips if you're interested in doing something like this too. If you have an idea for a product that you're going to manufacture like Michael, and you're looking for a company, whether it's in America, China, wherever, simply go online, find similar products, and email that producer, that company that manufactures. It's harder and harder to find them that are made in America. Even if you're going to do something in China, which, would be great if you could do it in America, but sometimes it's not possible. You simply email people, and it may take you a while to find them. A lot of Chinese people, Korea, wherever, they speak English. Obviously, they would probably in America. And just email them and say, here's what I'm thinking. You don't have to give them your whole idea, but you can give them part of it and say, I need somebody to produce this. Can you help me through it? And you're done. They'll provide you with the information because they also want your business. So please do what you can. If you're looking for that idea, you're unemployed, find it and then do it. I've said for a long time that if you look at people like Jefferson or Franklin, these guys were statesmen. They were foreign diplomats. They were authors. They were inventors. I mean, just go down the list of the stuff they did. How many of us can say we're authors? How many could say inventors? How many could say both? And statesmen on top of it, and foreign this? No. I mean, they farmed. They did all of this stuff. How did they do it? It was a different time where they didn't have television. They didn't have to worry about Justin Bieber and their kids, watching him on television and concerts and all of this other nonsense. In fact, they were probably bored. You get in the evening, I've done all the physical work I'm going to do outside today, and now I'm sitting here and I get a little candlelight flickering. What am I going to do?
I'm going to read. I
might as well read. I might as well write my thoughts down. They kept journals and stuff. They invented and they pursued it. But the mindset became different. That was almost like their entertainment. They did this to see it through. Our entertainment is just to shut down by watching television. Hey, coming up at 5:05 today, we're going to run down the latest from election 2012. And then right after the bottom of the hour break here, we'll get some news in. We're back. We're going to talk a little bit about the game last night and about some of those tickets. Could you get tickets to the game? Did you went to the game, right?
No.
Boz, you went to the game, right?
No, I ran it here from the studio.
You guys couldn't get tickets to the game?
I would have not gone to work and gone to the game if I could have found tickets.
Yeah. You know when it's really easy to find tickets?
When? Why is that?
When you're an elected servant.
Really? How?
Huh.
I'll give you details next. Talk Radio 1270.
Doc Thompson.